What's the matter with you?
What?
You come in here today.
Yeah.
And with everything going on in the world, you say to me, I still got my all-time Big East team, if you want it.
Never got to it yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. and you say to me, you just say to me with a giant smile on your face, because no one is pleased more by your jokes than you are.
Of course.
Larry Gura is what you say to me. It is a good name. It's a good name comedically to throw at the audience from 80s Royals baseball.
I was listing 80s Royals baseball players yesterday, and it was a flurry, and it was good. And I got all the names I wanted to get in.
You lose Lucy and all of our young people. Even Jeremy dorks out on all baseball things. He doesn't know who Larry Gura is.
Larry Gura is a classic number 2, number 3 starter for the Royals in the 80s. That guy, he might have a 4.5 ERA, but he'd still get you 15 wins. That's who he is, Larry Gura.
Do you want to do, Billy, 90s Blue Jays? Because I really felt like we left a whole lot of stuff on the table yesterday talking about 90s Blue Jays.
I don't want to force it. If we get to 90s Blue Jays, we get to it,
Once he said Lloyd Mosby, though, like Lloyd Mosby got me because you didn't end the game because we could. I mean, Kelly Gruber's pretty good. Like we could go.
Not bad. Rance Mulliniks.
Yeah.
There's something about this particular.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
This particular game, though, I don't need to know the name. If Stugotz is in his groove and he's playing it right, if it's just a funny sounding name, it hits for me.
Not the same for young people, though. There's something happening here generationally. You do realize that you and Billy and Mike, you're the Danettes now, right? You're adult human beings. You're not children anymore laughing at all the same silly stuff. Lucy's got no time. The funny names don't do anything for her.
You guys could be making up every single one of these names. I would have no idea. And I'm okay with that.
I don't know a lot of the names that they were saying. I want to be a good ally here, but I don't know who you're talking about.
I know how to bring this to Lucy. Lucy, just start naming Iowa receivers from like 10 years ago.
Oh, God, they weren't very good.
Come on, it's not fun for you. Like
Devontae Martin Manley.
Ah,
Marvin McNutt. Daryl Johnson Coulianos.
It's fun, right? Lucy? It's fun. I just realized that Billy's been faking his way through this game since the beginning. I thought this was the wheelhouse we all had, was like 90s Blue Jays.
Not like 92. I mean, I don't want to spoiler alert. You guys are older than me, so like I have like 20 years on me here.
But you've been faking your way through the most popular game on occasion.
The names I know, like Crime Dog, Fred McGriff, John Ollery. Like I know these names.
Those are good.
Yeah,
those are great.
You don't feel strong in this
Matt
category.
Vandenberg.
It's a fun game.
That's how you play the game right there.
He's married to Laura.
Lucy.
Wow.
Lucy. This has been for a long time here and everywhere throughout the world the great connector of men. Just being able to name random athletes from 30 and 40 years ago. If you want to play this game with us, you would be the historic first woman to correctly play this game with us.
My brother's roommate, Greg. Greg's on the football team. Shout out, Greg.
Wow.
He needs a last name,
Shout out
though.
Greg.
I don't know Greg's last name.
Greg.
Like I don't know who Ozzie Virgil is.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a great one.
That is a good one. But did he play for the Blue Jays?
Yeah, he was a DH 1990.
Braves, too, though, I think.
I thought he was a White Sox.
Huh. Interesting. Larry Gura once had 18 wins with a 4.2 ERA. I mean, that's who he is.
Yeah. Go check out how Rick Helling one time had 20 wins with an ERA over 5.
That name I know.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I remember, Stugotz, a long time ago at ESPN talking to somebody who was affiliated with one of my very early radio shows that I did Sunday mornings, very early.
I love that show.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
Lonely show. Nobody wants that time slot, but I wanted it because it was on like 500 stations because nobody else wanted to broadcast it that hour on a Sunday.
Many years later, I took that slot over with Mike Golick Jr. I mean, how about that? Passing of the torch.
It's a slot with a lot of reach, and when I was doing it in the morning at that time, I remember feeling very lonely talking to this person affiliated with the show, and you guys are going to recognize some of this because I was arguing so much with this person off air about how baseball was better than football, how much I enjoyed baseball more than football. He was ahead of the curve. This was before football was even as popular as what it is now. It was something different then. Right around then, I think American Gladiators was doing a better number on television than football was, not too much longer after that. He also had a gambling problem. I lent him way too much money. And football will feed the attention of baseball was too slow, and that's something that happened to football with fantasy leagues and everything else. It exploded into I only have to invest my one Sunday, 16 weeks, I can handle that, and then football exploded. But the reason I tell you this story is because recently, I've been watching Rays baseball all of last year. I really do love what baseball has become. They fixed a lot of the problems. I still don't care about the All-Star game. However, having seen baseball go from the medicine of steroids to chicks love the long ball and home runs are all that matter. Paul Skeens, thank you for making me fall in love again with the power arm. The Dwight Gooden, the one guy nobody can hit. These are so rare. Now, keep in mind, pitching is totally unnatural for the human body. All of them are going to break. Skeens will break too, and it'll be unfortunate. But for now,
everyone except Nolan Ryan. I mean,
that's correct.
Yes,
Billy, thank you, Stugotz, for bringing it back to that.
You're welcome.
I want to get you to Nolan Ryan because we.
I want to get to Nolan Ryan after seeing him walk out to the mound yesterday. I was chomping at the bits, champing at the bits. We've done this before. I don't remember what the answer was. I was ready for him. I was ready for the Ryan Express last night. When I saw him out there, I was actually screen recording my my TV, my screen. I don't know how the kids do it these days, so I was just holding up my phone with video recording, and I was going to send it to you, and I was going to tell you. I was waiting for him because I saw him a little slow, the Ryan Express, walking out to the mound. So I was waiting to see that pitch, and then I didn't get it because they gave it to Adrian Beltre to throw out that first pitch. But I was so ready to send you a video to tell you I can foul tip this because that was the challenge.
You know what? He can do that.
Thank you.
He can do anything that he sets his mind to. He's such an incredible athlete that nothing could stop Billy Gill. Nothing. Even if it's something from 16 years ago that he was a Division I athlete on.
When are we going, I say this in the most loving way possible to whoever is responsible for this. When are we going to fix that microphone for you so that it stops jostling when you have to touch it, that one middle microphone?
I fixed it.
Okay.
Well, he just has to sit down like a normal human being, but he wants to do this McAfee thing where he's standing the whole show to show off his traps or whatever his goal is here.
We've been standing on this show for
I was
longer than
standing
that
way
McAfee
before.
show.
Come on.
Yeah.
You guys did standing first?
Oh, yeah. I've been
standing.
I've been standing in the back row of this show for like 9 years.
I stood in the corner at the
sitting in the
Clevelander.
front
There
row.
was literally no chair. I had to stand.
So that's how you learned how to do this.
I was
miss
like, I can
those
just stand the
days.
entire
You
time.
used to not have a microphone.
Well, Tony,
He just supported
no,
you, man.
I'm afraid to say that Billy is not supportive. Tony was
How
not.
dare you, sir?
You're not supportive of Tony. You said yesterday. What do you mean, how dare you? You said yesterday, if someone tells me not to come to something, I'm not coming.
Because I'm a team player. I was asked not to participate, so I said, you know what? I won't participate.
Billy is not supporting the Tony Show. The Tony Show is tomorrow.
Today,
The Tony
7
Show.
p.m.
That's a
I
fine.
knew that.
7
Yeah,
p.m.
come on.
today, tonight, presented by DraftKings, Dano.
What is it?
What do you mean, what is it?
It needs a new name.
What is that supposed to mean?
It's just Tony showing
It's the
up.
Tony Show. It's perfect.
They're watching Back to the Future,
It's
too.
perfect. We're not watching Back to the Future.
Oh,
this
we're
one
just
is
cosplaying?
No, this one is Back to the Future 2 themed as far as the movie poster or whatever, because we're going back to the future. We're going to be playing retro PS2 games from back in the day that we used to play as kids. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing a lightning best ball draft presented by DraftKings, which is going to be exciting. There's a lot of stuff to do on the Tony Show, but that's why it's the perfect name, because we don't know what's going to happen until we actually do it.
Stugotz, I've been a little frustrated because of how slowly we move as a company. Adam McKay does want to do something with Tony and Juju. This is not it.
It's not the Tony Show?
It is. No, this is not it, which isn't to say that this won't work. Tony's trying to, I don't know, how do you make bones in a business? Why is that an expression?
I think it's calcium. You drink milk.
The making of, you make your bones in a business. Tony's trying to make his bones in this business, and before he gets to Adam McKay, he's got to create the Tony Show pilot that soars into the sky and becomes something else later on. But what's it going to be, Tony? Because I remember the first time you did the Tony Show, it was just going to be sort of like the Truman Show, Jim Carrey, we're going to watch you sleep, and I'm like, you have to entertain the people. You need to do something for them.
And entertain we did.
You did.
27 hours. We entertained everybody.
People loved it.
People loved it. People watched us sleep. It was an incredible show. This one is the grown-up version. This is step 2 of the Tony Show. We're going to be doing something different with different people, with different devices. It's very exciting.
Making one's bones originated in organized crime. It's from The Godfather. It's basically the amount of people you killed. The more people you killed, the higher you went up in the family. You know?
So, yes, I understand what the making of bones is. I just don't understand the origin of why it is we're using bones to is it because they're killing
climb
people?
in the company.
Yeah. So the more people you
Your
kill,
body's
the
made
more,
of bones.
Okay, so it's not making your bodies in the business. It's the number of people you end so that all that's left of them is bones.
Essentially.
It's like your body count with hooking up.
Yeah.
Whoa. Isn't that what the kids say these days? What's your body count?
You said that a little aggressively. Are you feeling
I'm
yourself
cool.
after
I'm
this
young.
sex
I'm hip.
advice person that was on with us? Are you feeling
That
yourself?
interview made me uncomfortable. Just me personally. Like, it was a good interview, but I just didn't love, because everyone's like asking for a friend, and I was the friend.
I have learned, Stugotz, something about Lucy and Jessica's friendship that delights me, because both of them have found Miami, as it is, not as warm as the temperature when you're talking about the people. The people are different.
The people are the people. I mean,
thank you, Stugotz, for
got it.
offering nothing but
Miami
noise.
is Miami. I mean,
He is right about that.
Yes, he is right. It's indisputable. The people are the people. But Lucy and Jessica have found Miami's people to be less than warm. So I was delighted to hear that Jessica has found a reliable person that she trusts to take care of Willow when she's out of town. Unfortunately, that person is Lucy, who cannot manage this situation at all. She's having a great deal of trouble with a disrespectful, spoiled, and entitled Willow.
Do not speak about her that way. That is my best friend you're talking about.
Willow or Lucy?
I mean, it's tough because
She's Lucy.
She's Lucy. You
Lucy
confuse
normally
Lucy and
rents a
Joy.
dog
Chris,
for a
Jessica,
day.
go
Yes.
sit in the penalty
Here we
box
go.
for 2
Yeah.
minutes.
I
Go sit in
mean-
the penalty box for 2 minutes.
Yeah, you said Lucy
You said
instead
Lucy.
of Jessica.
Get out of here.
I just want someone to remember my name.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just saying that she
year.
normally rents a dog for a day. It's different when you have to have that thing over your house 24/7.
This is how I feel
it's
about
a new responsibility.
children.
Right?
This is exactly when people are surprised that I'm good with children. I'm like, I love renting them. It's the ownership part that's a problem
Dan,
for me in terms
can
of responsibility.
I love you. Don't have kids. Please. Please. It's a lot. Don't.
Be content with being a godfather.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Collect your bones as the Godfather. And
I've collected so many bones. I am godfather to so many people. You guys were mentioning the mafia. This is how my friends extort me because they know I have money. Hey Dan, you want to be the godfather?
Even though you're officially not, I tell Rachel and Emma all the time, you are their godfather. They're waiting for a check. I mean, anything. A Venmo, something. Let's go.
Funny. So Lucy's got no control of the situation.
Okay, you're exaggerating. Willow is...
Lucy, I'm not exaggerating. You told me she dragged you. Lucy?
You are not there.
Lucy, you told me she dragged you to an ice cream store and you couldn't get her to stop. You
That has
told me
happened
that.
Several times. And it's super cute, though. So here is the situation with Willow. She is a great dog. She really is. And I wouldn't lie about that because I'm honest. Like my dog, Kinnick, at my dad's house, not a great dog. Love him. He bit my grandma. So not the best dog. That's okay. She's cool. He's cool. I'm still a big fan. But Willow, great dog. She's very well behaved, but she can tell that I am like not an alpha. Like she can tell that I'm not.
Oh, she
doesn't
see through you.
She doesn't respect me, and
I thought I said that.
I think you did it in a way that was disrespectful to Willow, and it should have been disrespectful to me.
Yeah, you should have been more demeaning toward Lucy.
You should have, because I'm not an alpha, and Willow doesn't respect me, and she shouldn't respect me. And so she thinks she can get away with a lot of stuff, and most of it is just every time we go for a walk, she's super excited. She'll get on her little, like, she's prancing. I'm like, yeah, she's got all this energy. That's great. And then she immediately takes me to this ice cream shop and just parks it. Like, we'll just sit there. It's 105 degrees outside, and I am using all my strength to pull Willow to get her to move because she will not leave this ice cream shop. And most of the time, we go for our walks early in the morning. So it's like 7 a.m., and she is just stuck outside this ice cream shop. And people walk by, and it's kind of embarrassing because I'm like having to drag her. And they're like, haha, looks like somebody doesn't want to leave. And I'm like, she just wants the ice cream. She just wants it. And she's good. I bought it for her.
Of course. Well, that's why she does it, and that's why she doesn't respect you.
And I'll do it again.
Yes, and that's why you will never have control of this dog, and the pup cup is clearly an addiction.
There's always that guy out there that when that happens, the dog is walking you, he says or she says, who's walking who, right? It happens all the time.
That's
I say it all the
multiple
time.
times.
Yeah.
It's like the funny dad joke, but it's usually like 100 degrees out, and I just want to go inside, and I feel like I'm going to pass out, so they'll hit me with, like, who's walking who? And I'm like, shut up!
Yeah, it's one of the great illusions, dog ownership, that you own them and you're not in their service. But my dog has never picked up my shit.
That's a good point.
Do you shit on the street?
That'd be weird, yeah.
Yes,
Sidewalk?
Yes, that's it would be weird. Which part? The shitting on the street or the dog picking it up?
All of it.
Yeah. It would be weird. That's good commentary.
I don't think dogs could tie the baggies, Dan. I think that's part of the problem. Yeah, it's hard because they have that thumb thing, but it's like halfway up their arm for whatever reason. Yeah. Why do they have that there?
Yeah.
I thought it was like an elbow.
Really? Huh.
You know what's funny about this? I just had this conversation, okay?
Dog thumbs in the middle of their forearm? Because, like, what a coincidence.
No, but elbows, what do you call somebody? An elbow? Do you call it an elbow or a knee? When a warthog has, this is funny. So because the animal is being preyed on in the animal kingdom, over time, the survival evolution of the animal makes it so its head and shoulders and neck are super thick to not get bitten in an exposed area. And the warthog has to eat. It sort of puts down its feet so that it is eating on what you would call either its elbows or its knees. But is it the elbows? Because the warthog's not walking on two legs. Those are all legs, so they all have to be knees, correct?
This is the classic, would a dog wear jeans the 4-leg way or the 2-leg way?
Yeah.
The classic?
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
If a
Yeah.
dog would wear jeans, how would it wear the jeans? On the legs or on the 4 front legs?
Mm-hmm. Since the dawn of mankind.
Tonight on the Tony Show, presented by DraftKings.
The dawn of dog kind, Stugotz.
That's a fun.
Yeah, people are people.
You've never thought about it, Dan? Yeah. How a dog would wear pants?
I have not, because a dog would clearly have to shorten the pants to walk the way a dog always has. A dog walking on.
Thank you. Diagram on the screen right now. Yeah. Would it wear him like on all fours, or would it wear it like hind, with the butt sticking out with the little tail?
Don't go through all your material for tonight now.
I feel like people put pants on their dogs, though. Yeah. Like, it's a thing that, like, when you have those, like, little floofy dogs, people like to dress them up. One time, my dog would not stop peeing everywhere, so we put a diaper on, which I feel like is kind of like pants. And it was not.
I do with my kid.
Yeah, it wasn't the bottom. So I feel like the pants have to go on the back, right?
You would think.
Well, I've never asked dogs, so we don't know which they prefer.
We know they don't like shoes.
This is one of your rental dogs, though, right? Like,
no, this was my actual dog. It was my little dog. Her name was Happy, and she was the meanest dog ever.
Oh.
What's going on with your rental dogs? What's the latest with this good work you've been
got a permanent one right now.
You've been doing?
I haven't been doing it much lately. Not because I'm a bad person, but because I'm busy. The Miami shelter was overflowing a few weeks ago, so they were actually really, really desperate for people to come take dogs out. Ideally, adopt the dogs. It's really hot outside. People are dumping their dogs left and right, which is really, really messed up. And if you do that and you're a bad person, I'm going to find you and I'm going to make you feel really bad about it. But you can still go do the Rent a Dog, which is not the name of the program, but go do a paw venture where you get to take a dog out for a day. It's a free thing to do. It's a super awesome program. There's very little you need to do to sign up, which is a little scary, but honestly, it's no barrier to entry. That's exactly what we want. So you just go to their website, search up Miami-Dade Shelter Paw Venture, then you type in your little name, and you say, I'll pick this dog up at this time, then, and then you go, and they give you a cute little binder, and you scroll through, and you get to pick whatever dog you want to take out.
I would agree with you, and I am somebody who rescued a dog who was so wild that it was like having a wild horse in the home for a very long time because what has happened in South Florida, and there are a lot of dogs just that people can't afford anymore, and they just dump them either in the Everglades or the Redlands area, and so those dogs live essentially like wild dogs until someone picks them up or they die of starvation because they can't make it in the wild. And it got me to thinking, Stugotz, about what the video that we just saw here locally, what desperation will look like when you don't have the money to afford a dog and you have to do something that's that kind of cruel. When forgive me for the wandering on this, but Copa America, one of the things that I noticed in the chaos of what that experience was, Stugotz, is that the ticket prices weren't in any way affordable, okay? So the least expensive ticket to get in was $2,100, okay?
Crazy.
The average price is $4,000 to that game. So there were 27 arrests made, and there were 7,000 extra people inside the stadium because it's a giant, giant thing. And the passion around soccer, I mean, I know we have it with football, but I don't really think that America understands how the rest of the world links up for its identity with its country's soccer team. So when desperate people can't afford things, they might overrun security. Now, I'm not obviously exonerating anybody for this kind of lunacy. You should pay. But when we're living in America where you see that the Republican Party is actively trying to just change all the rules, don't like them, so I'm just going to change them all. These laws don't apply to me. I'm not going to prison, immunity. So that the party of money can continue to empower money and create a situation where we have even more desperation than we have now. And it's not as cute as a soccer game. Now it's for food or for water or for money. What's it going to look like when it's not as cute as a soccer game and what you actually have is the manifestation of the prophecy of fear that they're promising you, which is the desperate brown and black people are going to take all of your shit and we need to build a wall, go get your guns.
But also, some people are just bad dog owners. Yeah. Like, it's not money. They just don't realize it's a lot of responsibility, so they just dump their dogs.
I don't think they get dropped in the Everglades either. I haven't seen too many Malteses.
Well, if they do, they probably get eaten by pythons. So I would say
pythons for sure get dropped off in the Everglades.
That's
true.
I've seen that. And turtles. So, people don't realize how long turtles live and how big turtles get. Turtles are a pain in the ass.
Goldfish, too. They get huge in the wild.
Those you just flush down the toilet.
A lot of homeless dogs in Hialeah. I mean, that's where I got Finney. There were a ton of homeless dogs. I'm serious.
No,
They're just roaming around Hialeah. I mean, that's where I got Finney from.
You're just walking around Hialeah picking up dogs?
I'm just telling you, there's someone who does this for a living that I know, and that's where I adopted Finney from, and they had a bunch of dogs from Hialeah. That's all I'm saying. Not the Everglades.
Do you guys follow that guy on TikTok who goes into the Everglades and then he goes in with his bare feet? He never wears shoes.
Garrett.
And and then he just picks up snakes and goes, yoink! It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. This guy lives life on the edge.
Wow. To answer your question, Dan, the thought of that, the look of that, it's gonna be hard for people to watch. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be difficult. But I understand the desperation when you need to feed yourself and feed your family. Okay? If you can't afford a ticket to a soccer game, you don't need to go to such extreme measures to try to get yourself into a soccer game. Food, I understand. Water, I understand. Money, I understand. A soccer game? Come on.
Totally true. I'm just giving you the example of when you really care about something and you want it and you can't afford it.
Yeah.
You haven't been desperate about money in a long time,
I
and
know.
it doesn't make you want it all the more. What happens when it's a fight over the stuff that makes us all allowed to live? It's what's going to happen with closed borders. You don't want people from other countries in here because you have the stuff. You have the stuff and you don't want to share it. What do you think it's going to look like? It's what's being fomented this week, Stugotz, at this carnival of lunacy that is passing for some sort of sanity. As again, I tell you, they're trying to change all the rules of democracy so that they don't apply to the people who are there. And Rudy Giuliani can fall down all the time until he dies instead of just gets old, taking stuff from people so he can have it, and other people who don't look like him can't. Like, that's what we're doing. It's the present exercise. This is where we've gotten. And it's the desperate people are now also in the unhappy, angry, poor, and white side, blaming Biden for it. Blaming and it's not Biden, it's that rich companies have bought all of these people. They're all bought, all of them. Every one of them is bought. They're so interested in power. And so, of course, you're right that they shouldn't do that for a soccer game, but it's not just soccer tickets that are unaffordable. A cup of coffee is not affordable anymore. You can't buy a home in this city. Like, nobody can buy property in the city anymore unless you're hugely rich, not even in what you're saying, Hialeah, which I keep saying to people, I can't believe it's the 5th least affordable housing market in the United States. My father grew up there. That's just factories and mud. That's not Miami. That's something that pretends to be Miami, and at its core has the most Hispanic poverty stuff that you will find anywhere in Miami, including dogs roaming around in the street like Finney. How did you get Finney in Hialeah? I don't believe that.
I went to a place in Plantation that, they find homeless dogs, and I adopted Finnegan.
I'm skeptical about that. Sounds like you went to a place that steals dogs.
That's where I live.
That's not what I did. They do a very nice thing. They give the dogs a home until an owner comes in and picks the dog. I mean,
You ever think about how crazy it is that we have a town down here just called Plantation, and we have no issue with it?
First time I said that to Dominique, he's like, "Where do you live?" I'm like, "In Plantation." And he looked at me, and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah, I just tell people Fort Lauderdale.
It's still the Masters.
I think it's time to change that. I'm going to start a petition.
Does Finney ever react like if someone says Rufus or something and you're like, why does he respond to that name? And it's because Finney was dog napped.
no. Not that I can recall, at least. But
Okay.
I do the same thing, by the way. Even up in Parkland, I say I'm from Fort Lauderdale. It's weird. I don't know why.
Well, but they're doing it for a different reason.
I
than you're
understand
doing
why
it.
they're doing it. I'm just saying, I live in Parkland. I still say Fort Lauderdale.
That's because you can't help yourself from lying at every point when you don't need to.
People don't know where Parkland is. They don't know
Yeah.
Coral Springs. They know Fort Lauderdale.
If I'm speaking
Yeah.
to someone from Florida, then I might tell them Parkland if I were you. But if I'm speaking to someone who's not from Florida, it's Fort Lauderdale. And if I'm speaking to someone where I'm not sure that they're even going to know Fort Lauderdale, then I'm just from Miami.
Thank you.
That's a
You're
tell.
welcome.
If someone says I'm from South Florida, you know they're from Broward.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you just say Miami.
You're exactly right.
That is true, isn't it?
We want people to think it's Miami.
You want the association.
I think Boca too. Like if you're up there, you'll say South Florida too.
Yeah.
If you say Boca, I assume you're 80.
Or Jewish.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. If someone says they're from Boca, do you assume they're 80? Do you guys know what Boca Raton means? Any of you in the room who aren't Hispanic?
Oh. Well, I'm Hispanic, so I'm not going to answer the question.
But you do know? You do know?
yeah, rat's mouth, right?
You've ruined the
Hispanic.
game.
Spoiler
You
alert.
ruined the whole
Jesus.
game.
Well, you guys
You wanted to
bully me
flex
for being
so
white.
badly.
I know
They were
something in
Hispanic.
Spanish, guys. I'm Cuban.
Boy.
I know, there's so many jokes, though.
David Sampson of Nothing Personal is going to join us here in a little while, but there appear to be a couple of things that people think are factually incorrect about what it is that we're talking about. One of the things that you guys said is that dogs don't get dropped off in the Everglades because, as Tony said, a Maltese isn't going to be dropped off in the Everglades. But if you don't care about an animal enough to dump it off in the Redlands because it will probably die, you're not going a whole lot further to just dump it in a swamp because you don't want the responsibility or the cost any more in your life. I am always guilty around here, Stugotz. The audience gets very upset with me because I think Miami and South Florida have an assortment of things that the rest of the United States does not have, things that are unique to Miami. Right before I left, I was telling all of the room, I don't believe a lot of places in the country have what we do at 11 and at Space, the clubs that stay up all night. And you guys gave me a number of cities that do have all-night things. And I assure you, those cities aren't filled with thousands of people doing that all night on drugs. That's only happening here and Vegas, and I don't think anywhere else in the United States where you gave me some shitty cities there that stay up all night or have certain places.
How dare you call Minneapolis a shitty city, Dan?
It's just absolutely not something that's happening over the United States where you've got all over thousands of people at 6 a.m. spilling out of a club on drugs.
New Orleans.
Yes, that's a good one.
New York, yeah.
I don't know if I don't actually.
Definitely, I've done it.
I don't know if New
My
Orleans has a lot of. Does New Orleans stay up all night with a place that's got thousands of people in it? I guess Bourbon Street would be that. Regardless, we do have something in the Everglades that I don't believe happens anywhere in the United States, which is we have a snake problem. It's a giant snake problem, so much that there are hunters who go out there and get paid for just eliminating some of the snakes that should not be in the Everglades. And Lucy, what is this video that we're watching now that you provided because you just learned about this the other day?
So this is Fishing Garrett. I talked about him a little bit in the last segment. He is based here, I believe, somewhere in South Florida, but I don't know what South Florida means after all you guys just said. So whatever, in this general vicinity. And his whole thing is that he is trying to find a 20-foot python. So this crazy ass guy just goes in the Everglades barefoot all the time looking for these pythons, and then will just stick his hand into the water, pick up the snake, and go yoink. So if there's a way that we could play this with the sound, because he'll tell you what animals are there and you'll hear him yoink.
Well, why don't we just get him as a guest to talk about some of this stuff? Because South Florida has a number of these unusual people. I met one of them who has to, is it Burmese pythons? Has to kill them and just puts a bullet in their head.
Yeah. They actually sell licenses where you can go out and get a license and go kill these pythons because they're so invasive. They kill all the other animals. There's a lot of small rodents. I think Ron has talked about it. Small rodents, even up to things like mid-size that the pythons just kill because there's so many of them.
I feel like that's taking the easy path, just putting a bullet in its head. I mean, come on, catch the snake. You're a snake catcher. Don't bring a gun. I mean, the snake doesn't have a gun. Seriously, it's cheating.
Stugotz, you called 911 on a fraud.
I did, but I'm not. Listen, I don't do this for a living.
I know, but you can't.
I'm not catching frauds for a living.
You can't be the Monday morning quarterback on how to kill a snake when you called 911 on a fraud.
But I'm seeing all these snake hunters going into the Everglades, and they're doing it with their hands. This guy's bringing a gun. It's cheating. I'd be upset.
The woman also catches them with her hands and puts a bullet in their head.
After she catches them.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't just walk up to a snake with a gun and shoot it. I mean,
you call 911 so the cops can come and shoot it.
It's cheating.
Billy, I don't want this to be another thing that we talk about and don't do, okay? Because I was told upon return from Edmonton that we had a number of different ways and angles to get a billboard in Edmonton. We thought, Amin said, I've got contacts. You guys are amateurs. Edmonton shut us down from every angle. We put up a couple of billboards in South Florida that had no impact whatsoever. And I was told we were very close We almost executed the joke of me seeing a billboard in Johannesburg on my way from the airport because Meadowlark put one there just for me. Just for me to see in the airport. I was told we were very close to executing that joke, but didn't execute that one either.
What if you were looking the other way and didn't see it?
I think they would have probably had to get my wife involved. There probably would have been some sort of. I wouldn't.
You're like, oh, look at this.
Little inside job.
Yeah, I think the practical joke would have involved some more planning, but maybe not with the way Meadowlark does it. Maybe Meadowlark thinks that all of the acreage I would have just had to be focused, and I'd be like, why is there a Connor McDavid billboard in Johannesburg?
He'll see it.
The way we do it, the way we communicate around here. But I want to get you in front of Nolan Ryan so that you guys understand how you consistently underestimate how much better these people are.
He's 77 years
I know,
old.
you've mentioned that before. And you are not the athlete that you think hitting a curveball.
He barely could walk out to the mound yesterday.
Okay, and you are not the athlete that you think you are. I believe. Now, I may have this wrong, but I want to execute it. Instead of just talking about it, I want, and Nolan Ryan's not going to come here, I want to get you to wherever Nolan Ryan is and see if you really can hit what you think you can hit. Because, again, the power arm, Stugotz, to me, it's the best thing in the sport. It's the most unique thing in the sport. Name the guys, Stugotz, all time that have really been fallen in love with because they just throw harder than everybody else. It's not just Nolan Ryan. It's all of the closers throughout time that used to come in for an inning and throw 100 miles an hour and make us confused how Mariano Rivera could do it not throwing 100 miles an hour.
You know, Paul Skeens last night wasn't the rookie who was throwing the hardest in the All-Star game. Mason Miller, the closer for the A's, threw a pitch 103.6 miles per hour. It's insane. He's unhittable, and nobody knows who he is. I think Stugotz knew that he wasn't a Meadowlark employee, though.
I did. I got that one right.
Yeah, congratulations.
Stugotz, I've told the story before of Mike Lowell, World Series MVP, saying what the difference between 92 and 96 is. 92 and 96, where it's like 92, okay, I'm okay, 96, whoa. Now make it 104.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. You're talking about what you're yearning for is the Goose Gossage, right? The guy who just comes in and gives you 92 right down the middle. I mean,
Jeremy, I'm not yearning for 92 down the middle. I'm yearning
but
for
back then that was it.
That
Dan.
was it. Go look up for me. Goose Gossage famously threw out his back sneezing because physically that's what he looked like.
Like Sammy Sosa.
He looked like somebody who should throw out their back sneezing because the act of a sneeze, not even his formidable back could take all the power coming from inside his body and handle the sneeze. The back was going to break. Go and look up how hard he was throwing at his maximum because he was a flamethrower, and my guess is that he's 12 miles an hour slower throwing a fastball than Skeens.
I just remember how impressed I was when Matt Lindstrom threw like 94.
Right.
I was like, it's the best. Calling my friends on hey, you see this guy, Matt Lindstrom? Like 96 he hit last night.
And everyone hit him, too. Like, he had an ERA of 4 the entire time. Everyone could hit him. I thought Lindstrom got even higher into the 90s. But
He might have.
Do you think I have this wrong, though? Billy, how do you feel about the power arm?
Goose Gossage on the Hall of Fame website says he had a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Wow.
But I feel like that was also at the times where it's like, what that look like? As 100.
Right. Yeah.
Put that down.
This says he threw a
Don't believe me.
103 mile an hour fastball during
Okay.
the 1978 All-Star game.
Impossible.
That-
I don't see that happening.
He didn't do it.
Yeah. And who was it? Babe Ruth hit a ball like 6,000 feet? Okay, please, get out of here.
Maybe I've got it wrong, Stugotz. I did not think that Goose Gossage threw 103 miles an hour, but maybe I simply have it wrong because I thought that what it is that we're watching right now, that outside of Nolan Ryan and Orlando Hernandez, or what is it? No, it's not Orlando
El Duque?
Hernandez.
El
No,
Duque.
it's not El Duque. It's,
K-Rod? Francisco.
No, I'm going to forget. It's going to be
Levan.
No, none of these people throw 100 miles an hour.
Not even close.
Who is the
Michael Tejera.
I'm sorry, Aroldis Chapman. I was just
there he is.
I was
Okay,
just
we got there.
Keep talking.
Just looking for a Cuban.
You guys were just throwing for Ed Fernandez, Hernandez.
I had a Rodriguez in there.
Yeah. I'm getting self-conscious about this. Let me ask you this based on what it is that just happened in the last segment. How should I handle as a Latin show the way I say Copa America? Because I used to get annoyed on television all the time when the news people were doing English, and then to show me they knew Spanish, they would go, Los Sandinistas. And I'd be like, say it in English. Copa America. How am I supposed to say that without sounding like a gringo?
Just like you did right there, Copa America.
No, but people notice and say, why is he
Copa
fluctuating?
America. You want to say it like that? That sounds so starchy, Dan. You're not a
Soccer.
starchy guy.
No one cares. Just say Super Bowl. 50 days till the NFL. How about that, Dan?
Crazy.
You excited? 50 days until the NFL. Oh my God.
I wanted to talk about baseball. You're going to
50.
do it the same way that my the person who had a gambling problem did it to me in the 30s by pulling me off of baseball
Allegedly.
to talk about football?
What is considered, we were having this discussion out in the bullpen area here. What is considered, how hard do you have to throw to be a crafty pitcher? Because I maintain you cannot be a crafty pitcher if you're throwing in the 90s. You have to be a guy who's mid-80s, 85,
Disagree.
86. You top out at 87.
Stugotz, there's one guy in the big leagues right now who throws in the 80s.
You can be 91 can be crafty, Stugotz.
91?
I think you're topping out at the very hardest pitch you've ever thrown in your life is 93. You occasionally top out during a game at 92.
Right.
You're living between 88 and 90 for the most part.
Like-
if you're a crafty lefty.
You can only be a crafty lefty. You can't be a crafty righty.
Well,
crafty
that's
righty,
fair.
you're a
Crafty
plumber.
righty or the
Kyle
minors.
Hendricks.
When I think,
Kyle Hendricks
when I
begs
think
to
crafty,
differ.
though, I think like Tom Glavine. That's who I think of.
Wasn't
Where-
Greg Maddox crafty?
All
Yeah, he
right,
was crafty.
let's bring
Yes.
in a
He topped out,
baseball
93, 94.
expert here with Jeremy. He is now doing, David Sampson and Jeremy are doing a baseball segment that's smarter than most of the ones we do around here. So put this on the poll, Juju, please. Is there such a thing as a crafty righty? And David, go ahead and answer the question we're asking. What is crafty today? Because I don't think crafty today is the same as crafty was 20 years ago.
I'm not sure anybody's crafty today. And crafties are lefties, and they're slow tossing. Greg Maddox was a power pitcher when he started. Greg Maddox, when he got older, turned into a bit of a crafty because we confused crafty with command. Command doesn't make you crafty, and that's what Greg Maddox had. A lefty crafty is the guy from Major League with Vaseline on his shoulder.
Randy Choate.
Ooh, that's a good
Randy
one.
Choate was not crafty.
What?
But he did have a suitcase that had cutouts in it with alcohol bottles that he brought on the team plane.
Oh, that's
that was
sad.
always
He
fun.
threw
But
sidearm
no.
and threw like 91.
So sidearm is not crafty.
Oh, come
You
on,
can
that's
have
crafty.
submarine.
Yeah,
No,
not
that's
crafty.
Can't be
submarine.
crafty.
No.
Yeah.
Submarine,
That's a
that's
different
no.
category.
Yeah.
Tim Spooneybarger was a submarine pitcher.
Ooh, Spoonie Barger.
Also not crafty.
No, not crafty. It's a submariner. Different categories.
Yeah.
What did you say Choate would do?
Well, we didn't allow players to bring alcohol on the plane, wink, wink. So he had a suitcase made that had cutouts in it. You know when you buy a book, but it's really where you keep your money and it's like empty in it? So he always wanted to be, he was Corbin Burnson of our team from Major League, talking to Major League, where you think he's the big business guy carrying a briefcase and wearing nice clothes and giving financial advice to people, reading the Wall Street Journal with a comic book in front of it. And he would bring on his briefcase. And when you opened the briefcase, it just had alcohol in it.
That's how he play.
I want to talk to Sampson about a couple of different things, one of which was you promised us that security at Copa America was going to be fine and no problem at all. I don't think you've ever been quite as wrong on this show as that.
So I actually thought that the families would be secure. It did not occur to me that people would be accessing the ballpark through vents. It didn't occur to me that in our country we would see things that you see elsewhere where people would climb the gates, would overcome it. It really looked to me like ultra gone wrong, what happened at Pro Player Stadium, at Hard Rock Stadium. But what really I was focused on is all the finger pointing, and I want to end that here today. Hard Rock Stadium is responsible for Hard Rock Stadium. Hard Rock Stadium operations is responsible for Hard Rock Stadium and safety and security. When you cut a deal to have an event in your stadium, You are not ceding control of security. You may be ceding control of load-in if it's a concert. You may be ceding control of field maintenance because someone wants to bring in someone with a different turf and they just have to leave it as they found it. So they have to replace the turf when they leave, but not security. All those meetings and all the finger pointing that are going on is angering me because it is making it seem as though that it is a problem with these federations. And I do not believe, and I know that's not the case, having played games at Hard Rock Stadium for many, many years.
Well, tell me, because you and Mike have both been here, and I don't feel like that, and I'm behind, so forgive me. I don't know what all of the national discourse has been on this subject, so perhaps it's been covered. But I thought Mike was fairly alone in what I did see in talking about the minutia on security detail that puts the blame on the venue and not on the people because they were treating it like it was a regular season Marlins game with security.
Well, I'm not willing to say that not to put the blame on the people. Just because the turnstiles are not operating and the subway doesn't mean that you jump them. So if, in fact, there's an area where you can access a ballpark, that doesn't mean you access it without a ticket. That is trespassing. That is breaking the law. And in terms of the number of security, you also have to look at the number of police. And that is decided on beforehand. You meet with the county and the city of Miami Gardens and you staff an event. Everybody gets a piece of paper that has on it the expected crowd, the expected, we don't put the announced crowd, the actual expected who's going to be there, the number of people. And then you get a number of staff, and then you get a number of the game day staff. So there's uniform security, and then there's non-uniform security, and everyone knows what it is in advance. It was definitely more on hand than for a regular Marlins game where they don't sell out. But it's also a difference when you've got a music festival versus James Taylor. And so the question is, when you have Copa having its final at Hard Rock, it's going to be staffed as though it's sold out and you're going to need extra security. And you've got to plan for the possibility of people coming to the site without tickets because they released a press release saying don't do it. But then they didn't establish, and this is Hard Rock, they didn't establish a second outside perimeter. That is page 2 of the security handbook. You don't let anyone in, not where the gates are. I'm talking about where the cars pull in for people who don't know Hard Rock Stadium. It's a campus, and you access it through off the turnpike, through gates, basically. That's where you need to present a ticket, not as you're entering the actual stadium. So it was a terribly embarrassing failure that caused people to be hurt, and it caused people to actually lose money. It was, I found it to be a nightmare. I was having nightmares watching it, actually, Dan.
David, I wanted to talk to you about some of what is happening in the country right now. You mentioned security, and I believe everyone's a bit on edge, and I believe the last 5 months are going to be, or the next 5 months, are going to be truly awful to experience with God knows what's going to happen. But in this divide, when I see Donald Trump Jr. being celebrated for just ripping an MSNBC reporter and the hostility toward the press that makes it so we sent somebody out there and nobody can get, we sent somebody out there just to sort of laugh correspondence work in the street, and you can't get close to anybody there because security is so tight everywhere. The Daily Show didn't televise on Monday. Morning Joe, it feels like ran scared from everything that's happening because, of course, the media is going to feel threatened by everything that's happened out there. Can you explain to me what is happening with, for example, the show Morning Joe, which is supposed to be one of the strongest entities that we have?
Well, first, let me clarify something and correct you. It wasn't Morning Joe that didn't want to be on the air. The host very much did want to be on the air. This was above them. This was NBC. This was the top of the corporate ladder where they made a decision that they were not going to put their regularly scheduled programming. And the thought was they're going to do breaking news the entire time, Sunday and Monday. But in fact, they weren't doing breaking news the whole time. That was the same feed over all of the NBC channels. The reason why they didn't have Morning Joe on It's informed by what happened many years ago, where they actually took Muslim anchors off the air. It was this past, I want to say many years ago. God, it's funny how that feels like many years ago, but it's not. It's with the Israeli-Gaza situation just back in October. And so the question is, why would a station or why would a network be nervous about what their anchors are going to do? Or are they nervous about how they're going to be perceived? Do they not want to be perceived as on one side of an issue? The problem is we're all on one side of issues, but there's certain issues, everyone's one side should be the same. So the anchors for Morning Joe came on the air yesterday and said, listen, we're not doing that again. If you think that we're not going to be in our chairs the next time there's breaking news or the next time that you are counting on us as an audience to be here, we will resign before we hand over our microphones. A very interesting power play, the likes of which we see with McAfee making fun of the top 100 at ESPN, obviously meaningless compared to the real world and real world issues. But you don't often see a power play between a news show anchor and its corporate parent. And I am very interested to see how this proceeds, because people know what they're going to get with MSNBC. They know what they're going to get with Fox. The question is, are we all trying to become more centrist, or are we all so scared of the edge?
Okay, but which is it? Because the next 5 months are going to be awful. And if I see media entities again being run by corporate cowards, and I understand it, I get it. Bullet just flew by the head of former American president, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to run scared as a media entity because fake news wins.
It's interesting you say that, because were I to run a media company, this is when I would have those hosts on for longer. This is when I would want to make it very clear where we stand on certain issues that are not divisive, because they shouldn't be divisive. I don't want confirmation bias where we accept people who don't want to listen, who take a position on a subject. And that's what angered me. And I started Nothing Personal yesterday. I did a bit of a monologue to start the show. What bothered me about the assassination attempt, other than you cannot have that in this country, period. But the reactions by both sides were so angering to me, both the left and the right. It was staged. People are saying, obviously, why? Biden was responsible. Obviously, why? It's the biggest case of confirmation bias I've ever seen in my life. And if that's what we see over the next 4 months, then we're not going to see any progress whatsoever.
Let's get to something a little bit lighter here. Can you guys get for me, please, the video and the sound of Ingrid? Is it Andres or Andres? I don't know this person, but
this one not Hispanic.
Okay,
she's not Hispanic, Dan.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know. I didn't know. Forgive me.
You didn't even see, so you don't know what she looks like.
I'm gonna.
This is a light turn here.
This is a light turn.
Okay. Andres. What are you looking at me for? I mean,
is that all you're going to contribute today? Is people are people, and this is a light turn?
I have top 5 craftiest pitchers of all time.
Okay,
when you're
that's
ready.
what you're going to contribute today. Let's. Yes, I had not.
That's a light turn.
I have not seen. This is also a light turn, Stugotz.
Yeah.
And the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave in the home of the brave?
Woof.
Gee,
You know,
it's very bad. That's a 4-time Grammy nominee. And of course, just like when you're sought after with the golf club by your wife and you just, or your Roseanne, or you say you're Ambien, she came out and said, oh, just FYI, sorry about that. I was totally drunk and I'm going to go to rehab and it's going to be fun, y'all. I hear it's great. I was despondent with her statement. And I'm supposed to be empathetic, and I have a problem with empathy, but really, this is what I didn't hear any slurring. But that's not the point. I was more angry with the operations people for Major League Baseball. You don't let someone on the field. You have eyes on people who do the anthem. You're in the green room with them, for crying out loud. Did she hide it that well, like a functioning alcoholic? How quickly into the national anthem do you just go take the microphone and start again? Because the level of embarrassment was off the charts.
I mean, yeah, David, she probably did hide it very well if she is a functioning alcoholic who's now going to rehab. Yeah. Like, that is how that works.
I don't think you can hide. You're so close to them. You're there, you're rehearsing. Maybe they're sneaking drinks. Maybe she spiked her water. All I know is that the in-game entertainment, which are the special events people in baseball, the people who work for the Rangers, you're with the people doing the anthems. There's rehearsals, and then there is pregame. There's a green room. You are a part of it. Maybe I'm inexperienced in that regard, but I've been thousands of anthems. We're with anthem singers.
Right.
I thought he was going to say I've been with thousands of drunks.
You can't pin this on game day ops, though. I mean, what are you doing?
I am pinning it on them because you can't. If you're baseball on your second biggest stage, someone argue your biggest stage, you cannot allow her to take the field. You simply cannot.
Yeah. Game day ops guys are like, what the fuck?
No, the people who actually are game day people are not that. They know they would not. We would never have had that at the Marlins.
I should tell people again that David Sampson does a fairly extraordinary thing every morning. Doing a show by yourself is hard. Not many people do it that way. It's also lonely. Making it really good and different and covering different terrain every morning is complicated. John Oliver has a ton of writers to help him produce a half hour of television once an occasional week that's not even every week. And David every day is doing 50 straight minutes by himself without that kind of help.
With Coca.
With Coca, yes. So I encourage you to listen to Nothing Personal because it does a lot of the heavy lifting around Meadowlark Media on some subject matter that not a lot of the other shows are tackling. A lot of interesting things around the Knicks. It would appear, David, and this is fascinating, Stugotz, the Knicks are very well managed at the moment, but they've also done in a salary cap age because they hit on Jaylen Brunson when they believed in him before other people, and they have his father believing in the organization. They have a group of people running the franchise who can convince Jaylen Brunson to take $100 million less because, hey, Jaylen, look, we got you a place. You're with your dad. That was fun, wasn't it? What's $100 million? We can get a whole bunch of other players, and now this will become the new model on how do I game the system if I can't beat the three guys somewhere else who are better than me. I give a big discount so that the owners can have more money. David loves this. David loves all the ways you give back discounts so that you can game the system.
Oh, I'm certain he does, and I want to hear his thoughts on it. But first, you have to get lucky on Jaylen Brunson.
That is correct.
Right.
And you have to fix 20 years of mismanagement, but also that mismanagement, James Dolan is the owner of all this. He's the one who's going to benefit most from others taking discounts, and he's fighting with the NBA. And he's a misery. He's one of the worst owners in the history of the league. So, David, take me behind the scenes here on what's happening with the Knicks.
So let me just put a tie on the Jaylen Brunson situation, because I've never seen a player take a discount. They say they do, and they like to say, oh, I'm here because I want to win a championship and I want to bring a title home for the first time since 1973. I understand two things. Either he's hurt, or there is some sort of opt-out provision that exists in this deal that we haven't seen yet that allows him to opt out and sign another 5-year extension when the cap goes up even higher. So I will tell you, from nothing personal, we do wait to sees. I'll do a Le Batard Show wait to see. Jaylen Brunson will not be under the current contract for the length of the current contract. It's never going to happen. He doesn't like New York or his dad that much.
Well, he
It's
could
absolutely
he
asinine.
can have a wink deal with these people to do that, to get around the limits of the system.
It's not getting around the limits of the system. It's just having an opt-out, and it's taking a chance. He could have waited an extra year and gotten 5 years with another extra $113 million, or he could sign this deal, which guarantees that if he gets hurt or stinks, he gets all of that money because it's all guaranteed. And if he keeps being as good as he is, in theory, there could be an opt-out. We just haven't seen the deal yet. But it's not enriching Jim Dolan. The Knicks team is not going to be worth more. They're a unicorn because they're better or make it to the finals. They are a financial behemoth, but one of the cores of their revenue stream is MSG Network. It's actually the thing that financed the Sphere, Stugotz.
Yes.
You should be thrilled for MSG Network, except MSG Network is in the toilet because of what's going on with regional sports networks. So Jim Dolan sent a letter to the other owners where he said, hey, guys, forget what Adam Silver is telling you. Don't agree to these extended TV deals, the one that'll get rid of TNT, the $76 billion over 11 years, because they're ruining our local revenue. They're going to make us just like the NFL. We're going to be sharing everything. There'll be a premium on mediocrity. And all the owners got this letter and they threw it away. Adam Silver got the letter, totally ignored it when asked about it after the Board of Governors meeting. Jim Dolan is the least respected owner in basketball. He just happens to be in charge of the most important team in the NBA. And Adam Silver wishes that he would sell.
Before we get to the movie review that you have this week, can you tell me anything new on the NBA package? Everything that's happening with Turner, with Charles Barkley, with everything, really.
Well, it got approved. That was the big thing that happened yesterday, is the Board of Governors approved these 3 deals that have been rumored that David Zaslav, the head of Warner Brothers, told you they were going to be okay without the NBA. And now you've got Amazon, John Tesh, and Disney as the 3 holders of the NBA rights. And so the question is, in the next 5 days, will Warner Brothers Discovery try to match one of these deals to try to keep the NBA? And it's a very complicated legal issue, is how do you actually match something? It's sort of like when you play horse and someone does a dunk and you're 5'5". You make sure that that's not allowed before the game starts, because you can't match that no matter what. And so there are things in this deal with Amazon that Warner Brothers cannot match. Warner Brothers could sue the NBA for doing that, but they won't. They could try to match it, but they can't. So it's going to end with NBC, Amazon, and Disney as the rights holders, with a national game every day of the week after football season. Unreal.
What are the poison pills that they can put in there that can't be matched?
All about streaming, how the access that Amazon has to people around the world, the number of subscribers Amazon has on its channel. Warner Brothers cannot match that. It's the equivalent of the no dunk rule in horse. There is nothing that Warner Brothers can do about it. The other thing to note is that they may be peacocking a little bit, pun intended, and I mean Warner Brothers here, because they shouldn't be matching. They've got some financial difficulties. They're trying to pay down their debt. They're trying to prop up their stock price. And the $1.8 billion for the Amazon package, That is quite a premium that is being paid by Amazon because they've got the money because I order a lot of toilet paper.
Is there a link between this and massive WBD layoffs?
No, it's there's actually not. And the timing is so unfortunate. The layoff, you could add up all the layoffs and it would not. It's like firing 10 lower level employees and saying, oh, look, now we're a good company again. We're totally financially healthy. You have to get rid of the higher paid people, not the lower paid people. So no, there's too much money involved in this deal with the NBA that layoffs would not pay for.
What is the movie you're reviewing for us this week?
Boy, I hope somebody saw it. Anyone watch The Man with 1,000 Kids, the documentary?
Man, is there more than one? Is this the doctor that was using his own sperm?
No, that's another guy with
That's
1,000
a different
kids.
guy. Yeah.
That's a different
guy.
Different guy. Yep. Fine, by the way.
So this is the story of a guy in Denmark who enjoyed going to sperm banks and being a donor and had a ton of kids all in the same geographical areas in violation of the law, which can cause kids to be incestuous because they don't know that all of a sudden they're brothers and sisters. And all I kept thinking about was Schwarzenegger's son with his housekeeper who came to work one day and said, God, I look just like my father. I look just like my siblings. The question is, what is the morality and legality of this man trying to spread his seed in places where he should not be doing it and violating the law? And he got caught because the mothers of these children, by the way, he wouldn't necessarily do it in a cup in the closet. He liked doing it the natural way as well, but that's a different part of the movie. But it is true. That's not normally how sperm donorship works. But all of that said, he got in trouble. And there are thousands of kids who are all brothers and sisters. It's a nightmare of a story.
Are you recommending the movie?
No. I'd rather you not think about it. I'd rather you just believe that this can happen.
Before you get out of here, Stugotz has his top 5 list of crafty pitchers.
Yes.
Are you ready, David?
Yes.
Number 5 or OLI?
Number 5, Dan.
Number 5.
Gaylord Perry.
Nope.
What do you mean no? It's my list.
Okay, sorry.
Number 4.
Dan Heron.
That's a good one.
His Twitter handle is I throw 88.
No, but that now
He used to be a power pitcher.
he used to be
I
a
throw
power
88.
pitcher. He used to be a power pitcher.
He threw 88
Howard.
miles an hour.
He's proud that he throws
the
88.
entire second half of his career. You guys are wrong. That's a good one.
Heron used to be a power arm.
never.
For like 2 years.
Now when the Marlins
Give me
had
a
him.
break.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Ted Lilly.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Got David with that.
Ed Lily's a great one.
Thank you.
Also a Toronto Blue Jay. Number 2.
Tommy John.
A classic. Number 1.
Jamie Moyer.
Bravo.
Bravo to
Wow.
Jamie Moyer.
A standing ovation from
Best one of
all
Cody.
time,
I mean,
clearly.
Jamie
Look, when you
Moyer.
get 1-1.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Is Jamie Moyer the greatest, craftiest pitcher ever?
According to the Google search I did for top 5 craftiest pitchers, he's number 1.
Greatest crafty pitcher ever. Yes, agreed. David, thank
Same
you.
search.
We appreciate it.
Take care.
Jeremy, what did you and David do yesterday on
David
the
and I
show?
did nothing because David is not a staple on this show.
We need to clear this up. This is Jeremy's show. David doesn't co-host it. I think Chris Cody may co-host it. I'm not even certain if he does. We need to get on the same
I can
page with
explain
how to
what this
promote
is.
this show. Okay.
Yes. Well, we need to get on the same page with how to promote everything. So, Billy, help me promote what it is that Tony's doing tonight.
Tonight, the Tony Show.
Presented by DraftKings.
2.0.
Just 2.
It's called the what?
It's just Tony Show 2.
The
Yeah, not
Tony
2.0.
Show 2, and it's called the Tony Show because they don't know what they're gonna do. Right? Is that how you explained it earlier?
Cooler than that.
It's the
but
perfect
yes.
name because they don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
Tony
cooler
Show
than that.
Part 2.
Anything can happen. Tony Show is like back in the day when you used to invite your friends over for summer break and you used to have that night where you play video games and have pizza and your mom would kind of leave you alone. That's kind of what the Tony Show
So
is.
you're just playing video games and eating pizza?
Again,
They don't know what they're gonna do.
again, cooler than the way you say it. Yeah.
Right.
Billy, what is that noise of support?
That's
you're
a cool
giving
noise.
The Tony Show. Yeah, you're doing. Are you doing hang 10 signals with your
Shaka, bro,
hands?
yeah.
I don't think I've told you this story, but I have a story, and it is when Cougs and I bonded for the first time. It was last year at the Stanley Cup Final before this company played defense against me to get me credentialed, and I got credentialed to the Stanley Cup Final last year. So I went to the Stanley Cup Final last year, and I got there at the same times as Cougs, and it was just me and Cougs. Roy was acting as though he didn't know who I was, like completely ignored me. So I had to, gravitate towards anyone that would know me, because I got there like 4 hours early, and what am I going to do? Just talk to no one? So anyways, we're going through security. We get our credentials, go through security, and the security guard, for whatever reason, and the timing on this story isn't great, but the security guard looks at me, and I set off security because I have this belt that always sets off the metal detector for whatever reason. So I didn't take off the belt. So the security guard, as I walk through the metal detector and it goes off, he goes, "You have any guns on you?" And I look at him, and I swear, and it was very out of character for me, I look at him and I go, "Only these." And I showed him my biceps. And I stuck my tongue out and gave him a hang. Like, "Only these." And then he laughed.
I cannot see you doing that, man.
I walked through security. A little out of character for me.
Yeah.
And it was just to make Cougs laugh, to be honest with you, because I never would have done that.
I'm surprised that your biceps didn't set off the detectors.
Oh, they did.
Are you guys skeptical of these modern day detectors that you just don't have to empty your pockets anymore? And it's just they're letting everyone walk through. It doesn't feel safe to me. Give me the old school, put my phone, put my keys around the thing, walk through it. These ones nowadays where it's just like you're walking through like two field goal posts.
Where are they doing this, though?
A lot of places.
Are
It's just
they?
the ones where it's like the guy's like 10 feet away on a screen and he's just like, it seems safe, but it's
Right.
just like they're like, don't empty your pockets, just keep moving. And it's just like, I'm always thinking to myself, this can't be safer than what we used to do.
He's turning into his dad. No, like it's convenience, though.
That's what I mean. It's
But
so
what you're yearning for is you want to take all the stuff out of your pocket, put it in a bowl, and then get it on the other side.
I just always think to myself, these machines can't be perfect. Like, I just feel like they're missing something.
just wanna
when
be
it's
safe.
When it's just, I feel like they're doing it for inconvenience. They're like, all right, let's go, walk on through. We're just here. We're just doing this thing. We're not even really looking here. Just moving on through.
Can you guys please get video? This is going to take you a minute, but while I'm talking, you're going to be able to find it. There is a famous video of a security guard outside of a stadium trying to do nothing at all to pat someone down. But we were talking about this yesterday, and I do want to stay here for a minute because I'm really scared about what's going to happen, that we keep trying to protect ourselves from stuff that can't be protected from. Like you just saw an assassination attempt. And I think, it's easy to second guess how it is security is handled when you see gunshots and to blame people. But I feel like we all learned at roughly the same time that former presidents get the security Secret Service B team, that it's not the A team that the former presidents get on how you handle that stuff. But all of security is a total illusion. And the thing that made that most clear to me, some of you might be too young to remember, which is how we were trying to make the rules up as we went along right after 9/11. If you think traveling and security and stuff is difficult now, it's almost never been more difficult than it immediately was after 9/11, because it was like, oh, we're not secure at all. How do we do this differently? And then it became very, very hard. But somebody got on a plane with a bomb in their shoe and was only caught because they couldn't get the lighter or something to work while they were trying to light their shoe on a bomb. And after that, they were like, everybody takes off their shoes. We don't know how to do this. We didn't know that we were supposed to be checking the shoes. Everybody needs to take off their shoes now. And it's what we're doing now.
Well, not if you pay like $80.
That's correct.
Yeah,
we got around that clears
anyway.
under
Then you're
TSA
good.
free. We got all of
that is
Then you can
correct.
keep them
Yeah,
on.
just pay.
You got
That
the
is-
$80.
Let me fly the plane.
No, you say this, Tony, but I will tell you, when I tell you that South Florida is different, you say, let me fly the plane. We were giving instructions to bombers who were only asking how to take off on planes. We were training bombers in South Florida.
In the
that
Keys,
They
yeah.
didn't know. Yes, no, in like the Everglades.
Yeah.
They weren't asking how do
it
we
was on
land.
137.
How do we land the plane? And nobody got suspicious. We only want to know. We only want to
they'll
learn
figure it
how,
out.
how to take
We don't
off.
need takeoff here.
Don't need to learn any. We're
Guys
in a
should have been
hurry.
like, wait a second. You gotta land that guy, right?
I'm assuming they were all from Hialeah, somewhere around Hialeah.
With the dogs?
We're
Getting
dropping
back
off
to that.
dogs and training terrorists in the Everglades.
Thank you. Yes, put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Are we dropping off dogs and training terrorists in the Everglades? Speaking of mixing dogs and politics, let's get to this footage from last night, Stugotz, because it's some of the only footage that we can give you in our political coverage. Where is this West Virginia? What is this West Virginia politician's name?
This is Jim Justice, not Bob Huggins. Jim Justice. And this is truly one of the funniest videos from a political convention I've ever seen. The rhetoric is horrifying. Ignore the words coming out of his mouth. Watch this video.
So
and
this
see the end of
this
it.
is only going to work for the video audience. This will
Right.
not work comedically for the audio audience because I've not seen this yet. But you're telling me this is, despite the hateful rhetoric, you're telling me this is funny video.
This is right out of Parks and Rec. Like, this is right out of Parks and Rec. After we play this audio, we will explain exactly what it is that the video audience saw.
All right, let's do that.
Bottom line to every single thing that's going on in this great country today is one thing. We become totally unhinged if Donald Trump is not elected in November.
Where'd that guy come from? So he says all of that, and then on C-SPAN, immediately the director cuts to a wide shot during that applause, and there's just a giant, fat English bulldog sitting on a chair next to him.
Why? Why?
It's his dog. He brought him out, said how happy he makes him.
Because he's Jim Justice.
It's a good name for a
Dog
crime
has,
fighter,
It's a great
right?
name.
Dog
yeah.
has pecs.
Is that why he won in West Virginia? Just the name?
It is a great
Also
name
probably the politics.
for a politician. Is it his real name? Because if I were right now trying to get power in politics, I would totally produce a name like Jim Justice.
JJ.
I'm here for at these conventions. You pan off and it's the animal that looks most like you. And it's like, all right, this is Jim Joyce talking, and then you pull back or whatever.
Jim
It's not
Joyce.
Jim
Joyce
Justice,
is an
whatever.
umpire.
Oh, he cut it straight.
Jim Joyce.
Go sit in the penalty box again. Unless you want to get
Galarraga.
fined every time you get a name wrong. Do you prefer that? Stugotz, while I was away, one of the things that you guys are going to have to help me because I don't know how this was all received nationally. I've read some stuff that people have objected to what they say is ESPN cheerleading LeBron James and the Lakers drafting his son, Bronny. And I know a lot of people think that's wrong, nepotism, it's not a meritocracy, but I do find funny if you are criticizing this and don't understand what it is that LeBron has been doing with power amassing. Given that the Lakers have been pretty shitty for 12 years, and the Lakers have had basically for 12 years only LeBron and Kobe, and they cashed in on some of the late Kobe years, even if the team wasn't any good. Given that it's a family business and it's a small thing, if I get 2 more years of LeBron I can milk out of this economy, I will remind you that the only reason that I worked at Disney is because they also hired my dad and brother. If you don't believe LeBron can choose his son and his coach because they need his economy for the next 2 years to just milk it, even if they're not any good, you don't understand what's happening there, which is LeBron can do whatever he wants, and it doesn't matter what your rules are. He's realized at the end of his career what the economy is of LeBron, and that's the business the Lakers are in now. You can object to it. You could want meritocracy. You could say it's not fair. But if LeBron wants his son on the team and J.J. Redick is the coach, that's what you have to do in order to make money.
I think it's great. I think what he did for his son is fantastic. And I think most people, have given the opportunity to do something like that for their kid, they would do it. What makes it so unique, LeBron had to continue to play at the level he's been playing at for 19 years to still have the value to an organization or other organizations where he had enough leverage to make this happen for his son. And what a great move by a dad. And who wouldn't want to play with their son at the highest level of their sport? And so I don't care. I applaud LeBron James for doing this for his son, because what parent wouldn't, if given the opportunity, wouldn't do that for their child?
But what if he's not ready? Because he's clearly outmatched every time he steps on the floor. He's smaller.
Tony,
he's not as quick. He's not as good as everybody else.
He's probably not ready. I'm not even certain he's good enough. It doesn't mean you don't do it for your kid.
Sure, but like at what point do we look around and say, like, he's just not that guy?
Probably at the end of the contract that they gave him with all the guarantees.
But 4 years. Well, what is that? What is 4?
He's 19.
No. This is crazy to me. And I asked Amin this. Like, what? Since when does a second-round pick, 55 in the draft, get 4 years, $8 million? When Stugotz says doing it for his son, is he?
You don't think he is?
I think he's doing it for himself.
Well,
And it also happens to benefit his son.
Well, I'm certain he's doing it for himself. It's something he wants to do. He has said for years now, I want to play with my son. And if I could stick around long enough, I'll play with my other son. I'll leverage that situation. But, Dan, it is incredible that he's still playing at such a high level at the age of 39.
I agree, but
he can pull this off.
But I want to explore this question for you as someone who's living vicariously through the children of champion lacrosse Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? Is he doing it for his son? Because I think a portion of it is he's doing it for his son, but this is exceptional and extraordinary for the LeBron economy. Like, does it not mean, is Jaylen Brunson represented, how does this work with what was CAA and Leon Rose and your beloved Knicks? Is Jaylen Brunson clutch, or is he with somebody else as an agent? Because
I'm checking out.
LeBron's moving pieces, Stugotz. His son, players. I'm not sure if Jaylen Brunson is a part of this. I just know
Brunson CAA.
Yeah. Okay, so Brunson's part of this CAA contingent that makes Leon Rose. They're making deals with the Knicks. The Knicks got in charge, Stugotz. They did what ESPN did, which is let CAA sort of run their business through relationships.
Correct, yeah.
ESPN was being run by Nick Khan.
Now it's being run by Pat McAfee.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen A. Smith would like to have some of that power, some of that exact
Pat
power.
has it right now. So
ESPN coming out and saying they have no interest in giving Skip a day. Huge miss.
Yeah.
Crazy.
They came out publicly and said that?
Crazy.
Yeah, don't want him
Insane.
back. Not for a day.
It's a bluff.
No, I like that by them. We don't need him.
Oh,
we're
but
fine now.
It'd be electric if they got him.
One day, retirement day.
It's like you don't
We're fine.
need 15 blue crayons in the box of 64 Crayolas, but it's fun to have them.
I mean, when's the last time he had a good take? He's out of the game.
Oh, how dare
When's the
you.
last time Skip had a take that we were like,
I don't
oh,
know.
man,
I
this
haven't
is
watched him in
great?
8 years, but I'm sure he still has
But
it.
I don't watch him either. You see it on the internet, and I haven't seen a Skip take that people are like, oh, he's back. He's old.
Talk about Bronny and nepotism. So Jaylen Brunson and Rick Brunson are together in New York. But it's funny because in the very first sentence of Woj's article about the signing of Jaylen Brunson, his agents are Aaron Mintz and Sam Rose of CAA, who I believe is the son of Leon Rose.
I can never get to the places I'm trying to get because we get lost and I meander, and I believe Billy has called me now a bit of a yammerer. This takes no inventory of the number of ways that you guys distract me.
Dan, huge breaking news. This is going to shake up the entire sports world. It's probably going to shake up the entire rest of our show. Wow. Taylor came in here and told me the best news that I've heard, I'm going to say all year. Wow. The entirety of the year, okay? Are you guys ready? The SEC will not penalize teams for doing horns down. It's not a penalty anymore. Horns down is back. We are back. Is your life different now? Has it changed?
Can the U still be done upside down?
Oh, I sure hope so.
I don't want to do it because my crime really gets angry and it kind of scares me.
So horns down. He does get angry.
He's a Memphis guy now, though. He told us yesterday.
Unreasonable. What's happening with Mike in that regard? Nobody can talk to him. Like he's an unreasonable University of Miami guy, the worst manifestations of the worst University of Miami guys you've ever met.
I wonder if Memphis beat FSU. I'm going to text them.
You're just starting to get to know Mike, huh? Sorry about that. I tripped over my words. I don't know what happened there. It was a roller coaster. Yeah. I was scared. I don't want to insult Mike because Mike's in a crazy place right now. I mean, you say in regards to this, I say in regards to everything. I mean, sorry, Mike.
We're talking about Mike Ryan? Mike?
So who couldn't do horns down before? Just the crowd or like the other team? Or
Yeah, so it was a penalty. So if another team did like a horns down gesture, that was an unsportsmanlike conduct. But now horns down is back. Everyone can do horns down anywhere they want.
Is that worthy of the breaking news sounds? I mean,
absolutely.
For you it is, but for everyone else?
Yeah, don't be rude.
I'm sorry.
How do we feel about the sideways you and horns? No? Is this a thing?
Who does
sideways?
that?
I'm just
What
saying.
is that?
We have all these rules
Is this
for
a bit?
regular, down, like, can I do it sideways?
Chris, go sit in the penalty box again.
Okay. So
Go sit.
It would just be a C.
Go sit again in the penalty box. I'm going to try my chances with Billy. I don't love the way that's going to go for me either. The thing I was trying to get to.
Oh, yeah.
The horns down?
No.
Oh.
Bronny,
I lost interest.
I'm going to have a hard time doing this without the connection between video and our executive producer. But the Jaylen Brown lip reading involving Bronny. Did you see it, Stugotz?
I did see it. I saw his Twitter post, his social media post the day after he realized everyone was reading his lips. It was hysterical. It was funny. At least he didn't shy away from it, though.
Well, so everyone, I think, agrees that the Celtics, this hurts me to say this. It hurts me more to say this than to say the Celtics are the champions. The Celtics have one of the best social media teams there are. And the Celtics media relations team protected Jaylen Brown very much from his lip reading. But you guys want to detail for me? Because I believe it was LeBron and Wade and that group of Heat players who sort of showed everybody that the way to talk in public, if you don't want things heard, said, interpreted, is to put your jersey or your hand over your mouth while you're speaking. Jaylen's a little new to this game of how you're going to get embarrassed when everyone's watching you. But Jaylen, you're now dating a famous person. You are somebody who is a champion.
Right.
You need to learn. You don't say things you don't want in public. People will read your lips.
In the first row of a game, he said, I don't think Bronny is a pro. That was the exact quote, turning to the people that he was with. And while he might be right, it's still not the type of thing as the finals MVP as you're wearing a finals championship hat as a Celtic talking about a Laker, talking about LeBron's kid that you want to see out there in public like that.
Couple things I want to put out in this video. One, you got the generic finals hat. You still wore that one. You have access to a lot of hats. You wore the generic one. I didn't like that. But what I did like was after he said Bronny's not a pro, he gave una mueca.
Yes.
Like saying
something smells bad.
But it hurts to me to say that. Yeah. But it's true, but I want to be nice about it. Like right there. That's the mueca right there. That's like, damn, I wish he was better. He's not, but I don't think he's a pro.
Tony, That is such a good word. It makes me want to make it the word of the day. Mueca. I want a definition for mueca because it's exactly what it is Jaylen Brown was making. And I know that the audio audience cannot see this, but I'm not going to call it a smirk. I am going to say that it's easier to read his face than it was to read his lips, which is he's not a pro. I see that on your face. And also, didn't really want to be sharing that with anybody. Never mind the world, not even the I'm dating. It's my girlfriend who's next to me. It's not, I don't want anybody to misinterpret what my face has to say, which is, it hurts me to say this so much that it looks like I'm smelling something bad right now.
That's why he went to Twitter immediately and quote tweeted the video as it was going viral and said, "It's a flex to have your son alongside you in the NBA. It reflects greatness and longevity. Bronny has all the tools around him to be successful. I look forward to watching his growth."
Kick, save, and a butte.
Well, thank you, Stugotz, for saying that because it is rare around here when I arrive at the subject matter that slowly makes the rocks that are in Stugotz's head tumble and turn, and he's like, Dan, you made me think about something, which is LeBron doing this for his son or not? Am I doing this for my daughters or not when I want them to be champions at lacrosse? And of course I'm doing it for them, but man, it feels good to do it for them, say I'm doing it for just them, when I'm also doing it for me, because I will tell you, I wasn't doing my brother gets to do the art and my dad gets to be on the show for them. I was doing that for me.
Right. Something you wanted to do for them.
Now, neither one of these people are my sons, but I wanted to do it for me. I didn't want to do it for them. It was not for them. My dad didn't particularly want to do it, and my brother didn't need it. Right. I did that for me because I could. So the only reason I bring that up is because LeBron can do whatever he wants. Like, it's absurd.
Well, he just did.
Yeah, right. But it's not just that. Like, he's pushing the boundaries on the absurdity of, yep, coach is my podcast host. Yep, son plays for the team. Anyone got any objections? Give me the max. 2 years, $100 million. And if you could, you'd have to pay me more for it. If there weren't a salary cap and you wanted it, it would cost you a lot. You're getting me cheap. You're getting my son cheap. You're paying me and my son, the way I make money through clutch management and everything else. I don't think people realize that LeBron's going to be so much bigger post all of this than Michael was with just Nike, because he's going to make and do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants in this sport and beyond it, make movies, media stuff. It's going to be crazy to watch what this competitive of a person does against the McAfees and Peyton Mannings and the Tom Bradys when he gets into the sphere that he doesn't have to actually do basketball anymore.
I'm not certain he'll reach the Jordan level. I mean, that's pretty lofty. We'll see. I'm not saying that he won't. I'm not sure.
It doesn't even have to be money, Stugotz. I'm just saying empires. He's going to have players as agents. He's going to own a team. He's going to be able to make movies and content with an ESPN relationship and everything else that allows him to just come over here and say, man, the Peyton Manning deal, Stugotz, is like 9 years, $700 million with ESPN.
It's crazy.
Dad, I love that you said all that, but Stugotz still couldn't help turning it into a LeBron versus Jordan debate.
I mean, he took me there. I mean, he did.
You let him right into it. You should have known better.
Said the same topic.
Like, he's going to be bigger than Jordan. No, you should have known better. You were never going to get a real answer out of him.
How about make your own? You want to not be Jordan? How about make your own movie that's not Space Jam?
Good point. He did Trainwreck, right?
Yeah, the rest of his movies.
Such a good point by Billy.
That's a good joke by Billy.
I'm certain LeBron is doing most of this for his son. Everyone has different reasons, so I'm trying to apply my sensibilities and my story to what it is we're talking about. And I am certain LeBron is doing most of this for his kid, and as you pointed out, some of this LeBron is doing for himself because he wants to play with his son. He wants to show that he still has the power and the leverage, and he's still running the NBA. And that's a pretty bold flex at the age of 39 for me. But I think he also knows he is putting his son in a great spot. His son's going to make a lot of money. If his son somehow can arrive at a place where he's the fourth or fifth guy off a bench or the last guy in a bench, and he does it for 12 years, that's a great career. the importance and value of team sports, all that stuff I'm certain has factored in to LeBron. I don't make a lot of money. With me and Rachel, I just try to tell her, hey, don't make some of the mistakes I made growing up, because I could have gone D1 lacrosse, could have gone to a place like, Maryland or Syracuse, or had I taken it seriously. And so there is a part of me, no question about it, that wants Rachel to succeed because I didn't in that sport. And so, yes, some of this is for me, but at the same time, it's good for me, and I know it's great for her.
Let me see if I can engage Lucy Stugotz with just a comedic name of a crafty pitcher that she will have no context for, that is funny just because of his name.
Okay.
Frank Tanana.
Oh, that's great.
No? Damn, it's going to be hard.
Frank Tanana?
It's going to be hard.
Tanana.
It's going to be hard.
Tanana.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said
Sounds like banana.
It does sound like banana.
I'm not certain Frank Tanana ever reached 80 on the gun. I'm serious.
I'm gonna have to work on this game to see. I think the goal should be because Jessica doesn't like this game when we play it with Mike Schur. Mike Schur loves the funny name game. All of his characters and all of his television shows have ridiculous names because his son, they love to do names. I need to reach you here, so let's see if we can make the goal of the game should be, can we make Lucy laugh with a funny name of a crafty pitcher just because the name is funny? In the interim, give me the stat of the day music, please.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
I think I've got a really good one, and it allows us to make stat of the day something that can go outside of sports, because I would like to start giving people some facts with this that really blow their mind outside of sports. And I think I'm going to surprise everybody in the room with this one. I might not. You are more likely to die, 15 times more likely to die from a coconut than from a shark.
I knew that.
Everyone knew that?
Yeah.
Really?
Everyone here knew that
Yeah.
you're 15 times more likely to be killed by a coconut?
That's a stat that always ends up on the Reddit thread of what's an interesting fact that you know, and I read those and watch those TikToks religiously. So
Well,
I know
get me
those.
more of them, because I want to learn more things like that, because I had not considered the possibility that coconuts were out here killing a great many people, that there were 150 people who died every year from coconuts and only 10 from sharks.
But thank you for undercutting it, Lucy.
Well, all of you apparently knew. It didn't seem like anybody was surprised by it.
Sharks can't fall from trees on your head.
That's the thing. It's a classic coconut off the tree, hits you right in the head, you're done.
If
You
it
think you
happens,
just fell
it
out of a
happens,
coconut
right?
tree?
Yeah.
You exist in the context of, I forgot the end of this quote,
Of which
in
you live.
which you live and came before you.
I didn't know,
Coconut.
Dan.
Thank you, Chris.
Do you think more people have access to coconuts or sharks? I guess coconuts, right? Because you think there's definitely places that are landlocked where a shark's not going to kill you, but is that the right climate to grow a coconut tree? I don't know.
Ocean, pretty vast.
Yeah, but there's lots of people that don't have access to the ocean.
Do any of these people die in the ocean from the coconut?
I would
Ooh,
assume
wow,
that
that's a
The
good
coconut
question.
hits them,
Dan,
they stumble into the
does that
ocean?
stat say how many people are killed by coconuts in the ocean? Did it say?
Hold on. Let me see how
Just check.
Stugotz has this happening.
That was Chris.
So yes, probably when people, if the stat were, I think you've got this right. If the stat, how many people in the ocean have been killed by coconuts, I think it might be sharks that are killing more people than coconuts.
People are pretty stupid, though.
But only if I'm willing to consider Stugotz's example, which is a person has been hit on land by the coconut, but then staggers into the ocean, because if it's 10 times more 10 times as many than sharks, maybe of that percentage, more than 10 are staggering into the ocean to die.
Can I ask you guys a shark question? So, I don't know if you guys saw this over the 4th of July weekend. I think it was actually on the 4th of July. I think that it was in Texas. There was one beach where 3 different people got attacked by a shark. So I'm kind of wondering, how you guys handle that, because like I feel like if I'm at a place where someone gets attacked by a shark, do you think, well, that was it, that was the shark attack, I'm good now? Or you get out of the water? Because most people probably get out of the water, but like I can understand the logic of, well, that was a shark attack, I'm not going to get attacked, right? But
it's also airplane like logic.
After
like,
the second time, then I think maybe, do you think, well, 3 people aren't going to get attacked by a shark today? Like, that's crazy. How could that possibly happen? And then it happens.
Like this beach has hit its allotment?
Yeah. Well, Dan said 10 people get killed by a shark a year. 3 in one day.
Right.
They didn't get killed. They just lost like calves. It's kind of traumatic, gross looking. You don't want a shark to bite off your calf.
Forgetting,
or anything.
Off the top of my head.
I had a classmate get attacked by a shark. It's a baby shark, though. Not the song. That one, honestly, the Baby Shark song did a bad job of making baby sharks seem friendly, like they can't attack you. But my friend from high school, Ricky Lavinia, we weren't friends at the time. He was cooler than me. But Ricky Lavinia got attacked by a shark, bit into his side. I was on vacation. I came back to that news. It was like Memorial Day weekend. Little baby shark. It was like 7th or 8th grade, yeah. A lot of traumatic things.
Have you tried to reconnect with that guy? Because now that you have like a really cool job, you can be like, I'm cooler than you now.
I feel like I may hear from Ricky Lavinia in the coming days.
Do you do that, Chris?
No, I don't do that. But if I had a bully, I may have had a bully in high school.
I didn't.
I make sure I friend request a kid or two.
Let's clear Ricky's name. I never said Ricky was a bully. I said he got attacked by a shark.
Well, he was too cool for you, you implied at one point.
No, I said he was cooler than me. Lots of people are cooler than me. In fact, like 90% of the people are cooler than me.
I don't think anyone's cooler than you when you're walking through security doing guns out to only these.
That was my moment. I peaked there, yeah.
Your coolest moment.
That was my Letterman jacket moment.
Yeah.
Well, what's going on with you? Because you say you're peaked.
In general, I have no idea.
Well, I've got a question for you because it seems in some places like you might be trying to grow because I understand you're now trying to aspire to social clubs. That you've told Tony that you will not come tonight, and he told you not to come. And you said if you're not invited, I don't come to places I'm not invited. I don't think you would go if you were invited. But are you trying to be a more sociable person?
No. Well, I mean, first of all, I didn't tell him I wasn't going to come. I was told not to come, so I didn't go. I have this thing, and I don't know if you guys were like similar. The answer is no. I don't think any of you were similar. But like, if you go back to like high school, there would be times where there's like parties where there was like a list, right? And like, I just wouldn't go because I didn't want to face the embarrassment of not being on the list without even knowing if I was or wasn't, without knowing if I would be put on this. If there was a list at a thing, I probably just don't show up because I just assume always I'm not on the list. So like for Tony's thing tonight, I was told don't come to Tony tonight. So I didn't come to Tony tonight. Because I was asked not to come specifically, and I don't want to get here and then have Frankie tell me you're not allowed in, you're not on the list. How embarrassing is that? And this is like a long drive for Frankie to then tell me, turn around, you're not on the list, you can't come. And I'm like, well, I work here. And he's like, well, you're not on the list. You're not going into Tony tonight. So I wouldn't show up because I don't want to be turned away. And social club, yes, I am somewhat involved in a social club, if that's what you want to call it. I'm involved.
So what are you, like a Knights of Columbus kind of thing? Like the Rotary Club, Moose Lodge? Like, what are you doing?
It's a burger club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So Burger Beast down here, he has a burger club that anyone can be part of it, really. I shouldn't be telling the secrets, but that's how you just, follow his Patreon. You can become a member of the burger club.
No, what do you mean you shouldn't be telling secrets?
Well, because I don't know if I'm supposed to be publicizing this and then the burger club gets out of control because too many people want to join the burger club.
I think Burger Beast would like if it gets out of control because it's behind a paywall. So
well, here's the thing. So you can subscribe to his thing. You can join his Patreon. You become a member. Then you're part of the Burger Club. And then every once in a while, there's burger meetings. And in these burger meetings, I attended one this week. You get previews of different burgers and different, like, I had croquetas that I tried. But here's the thing that I don't know is their products before their launch. So I don't know if I'm allowed to tell people the products that I'm sampling. Like, I won't tell you the brand because I don't know if I'm allowed to tell the brand. I had an arroz con pollo croqueta.
Be careful.
That was like, what is this? How did we come up with this?
That sounds wonderful.
And there's a company that was testing this, and I tested it, and it was delish. But I don't know if I could say the company because I don't know if these are secret things. I don't know.
Are these like friends of the show people?
I'm new to the club. I'm new to the Burger Club. So I don't know quite yet if it's a secret society. And I don't know if I'm allowed to be telling people what is going on at the burger meetings.
The first rule of Burger Club is don't talk about Burger Club. I mean, everyone knows that.
But to Tony's point, it helps Burger Beast if you follow him and you join the Burger Club, I would assume. So, like, there's probably a certain amount that you want to, publicize it, but I also don't want to then, you know?
Are you looking for ways to get out of the house? Is that essentially what's
No,
going on?
I'm
Away from
actively
the
looking
kids?
for ways to stay in the house.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Would you join a club that only sits around talking about burgers?
The coconut death is real, guys. In 2010, the Indian government removed all coconuts from the trees surrounding the Gandhi Museum because they were worried they would hit President Obama in the head while he was there and potentially kill him. Could you imagine?
Where are you getting your coconut facts that everyone seems to know?
Death
except
by
me?
Coconut Wikipedia page.
Okay. What else is on there? Is there anything else on
Not
there?
coconuts.com.
Yeah, there's
huh?
a reference to all the times it's been referenced in pop culture, which includes Gilligan's Island, a song called Killed by a Coconut, written by Shel Silverstein. Bob Denver apparently had a lyric about coconuts killing people. Keith Richards. There was a rumor that Keith Richards had a concussion based off of being hit in the head by a coconut, but really, he had just been drunk and fell out of a tree.
I have a concert question for you guys, for the class, for all of you who want to participate in this. So it was revealed that the person that performed at the All-Star game that is now in rehab actually opened a concert that both Tony and Jeremy were at a month ago. So they saw this person perform, and they were unaware of this. Do you guys have people that opened a concert for you that then went on to be like big stars that you didn't realize at the time, and then you look back and you're like, oh my God, like this person's huge?
Jim Carrey opened at a comedy club in Los Angeles one time. The first time I ever saw Jim Carrey.
Really?
Yeah. and-
Okay, Dan.
Do you remember thinking
you
to
seeing
yourself,
it
as you're
came over?
watching him do his thing, are you thinking to yourself, this guy's going to be a massive
Yes,
star?
of course.
Did he
I'm
do
that
alrighty
kind of-
then?
I'm kind of that.
You're a visionary. I mean,
Yes, I'm that
right.
kind of talent scout.
Comedic visionary.
Yes, I foresaw everything that he. But he was clearly very,
Or
very
on
physically
drugs.
talented.
Who was the main guy? Who was the main comedian that
I think
night?
it was Louis Anderson. I think so.
not bad.
I think so. Yeah.
Worst Family Feud host.
Put it on the poll, please. At Le Batard Show, was Louis Anderson, may he rest in peace, the best Family Feud, the worst Family Feud host, and also put it on the poll. Did you know that 15 times more people died by coconut than shark every year?
Did Jim Carrey steal the show that night? Like
He was pretty great, but it was a pretty, everybody was pretty great. But yes,
Was he smoking?
2 minutes.
No, that was all right. No, that's all right. You can stay. We've done a poor job, I think, of, again, promoting both pitch count and
Pitch clock.
Jesus.
Did you know Louis Anderson was on a celebrity diving show?
Yes.
I think with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right?
No way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Look at that list of people. Those were the two best. No, those were the two best. I want to bring that back. Those were the two best. So the show,
Called
Pitch Clock,
Splash. Oh, Chris, hit it. Splash.
the show Pitch Clock with Jeremy and David Sampson.
Not David Sampson every week. He'll be there sometimes. It's called the Pitch Clock. We play a nostalgic trivia game because we just like naming old baseball players, but then I'll also speak to an expert every week. That's where David Sampson might come in, and we will force feed modern baseball information down your throat. And it's because, Dan, look, I know what the fans of this show are most interested in.
Lucy doesn't want that.
It's baseball and hearing more of my voice.
Yeah, Lucy doesn't seem to be interested at all. But we've also done a very poor job of celebrating and advertising Tony Tonight.
Big night. Tony
That's
Tonight
actually
part
the Tony
2.
Show.
Tony Tonight coming up.
Tonight
We're actually
Show.
filming some stuff in
the
August.
Tony Tonight Show.
Exciting Tony Tonight episodes coming soon.
Is it featuring the pitch count?
So tonight
Wait,
is
so
not.
what's today
Tonight's
called?
the Tony Show, as you can see above.
This is a hockey
the
show
Tony
all over
Show.
again.
The Tony Show tonight, but Tony Tonight is not tonight.
Tony Tonight has always been a clip during the day, too.
But
Yeah,
the hockey
that's
show is
odd.
the post-game show.
Why is that?
The
Because that's when we
post-game show
film.
was not the hockey show.
No, but yet also the Tony Tonight never airs at night.
I know, because we shoot during the day.
Then why is it called that?
Tony Today?
So just to be clear, tonight Tony's hosting the Tonight Show.
Bingo.
Yeah, you got it.